So, Mr. Kaushik, I was just reading about you. One thing I found it. You have faced betrayal, abuse, and lack of injustice. So, what was that?
Mentally challenged mother, went to beggar colony, one of my relatives for years. And at the same time, I was overachieving, so it got mixed with envy.
So, in beggar colony, why people are so aggressive?
Primal instinct. Normal, regular people, they want to be loved, they want to be respected, they want people in their life. In beggar colony, all they want is to survive. They feel from the whole world that nobody cares about them. They'll do anything to survive.
So, Mr. Kaushik, there are thousands of books. Self-help. Why do you think your book is different?
Because it operates from a deeper perspective. Because I faced deeper amount of pain, I needed a deeper amount of explanation to solve it. And in 11th and 12th, my friends got inspired and wrote movies, which are now blockbusters.
So, what are the three underrated social intelligence hack which is not talked about?
We have to let other person feel like they're the king or queen of their life. If we just try to push ourselves like I'm the greatest, I think we're going to lose most of the battles of life, especially in social intelligence. One thing is we have to make other person feel like they're good. Second thing is
So, Mr. Kaushik,
Yeah.
how are you?
I'm good.
How's thing life?
I woke up feeling fresh. I had a nice ride. Come here.
Where
There's
are
that
you from
flyover.
basically?
Bangalore itself.
ಬೆಂಗಳೂರಿನ ಸೊ ನಾನು ಕನ್ನಡ ಕಲಿತಾ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ ನಾನು ಕನ್ನಡ ಭಾಷೆ ಕಲಿತಾ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ
That's amazing. You won't get into troubles.
Huh?
You won't get into troubles if anything happens
ಹಾ
because there are a lot of pro language.
ಬಟ್ ಐ ಲವ್ ಟು ನೋ ದ ಲ್ಯಾಂಗ್ವೇಜಸ್
That's amazing. That's a great mindset to have.
ಯಾ ಸೊ ಎವ್ರಿ ಲ್ಯಾಂಗ್ವೇಜ್ ಇಸ್ ಡೈಯಿಂಗ್ ಡೇ ಬೈ ಡೇ ಸೊ somebody has to protect it. So, Mr. Kaushik, from the beggar colony to mastering your life, how you would introduce yourself today?
I would say I'm a really aggressive person, but who's trying to be excellent every day.
That's it?
Yeah.
No alliteratives?
I think that's enough. A really aggressive guy trying to be excellent. On one side, I have the dark side. I'm trying to make it positive. That's about it.
So, is there any defining moment triggered you? Like, I'm not like others.
Yeah.
Can you tell me more about the triggering moment?
Okay. That moment is really powerful. And I want to explain it a little bit deeper. What happened was my whole life I was an overachiever. At the same time, I was aggressive. So I got into trouble with people. A lot of people. My whole life. School, college, friends, family, neighbors, relatives, everyone. It has been like that for most of my life. And because of this, it created envy and like a lot of traumatic situations and all that. So what happened was one of my relative, somehow, I don't know what envy got into them. They made me fail in BCom. So I ran out of my home in 2018 after BCom. So then I found a job where I overperformed. During the training, I got an appreciation call from the US client. I was like, okay, it's clearly I'm an overachiever. I'm not saying out of ego. I just know from practical proof. So then I later quit my job. I was in a small shed on the top floor, on the third floor, where because I had run out of my home. On one night, I see a trailer come out of a movie where, my role model was acting like how I was in my hostel. That moment I felt like amazing. Like my role model is acting like how I was before. It was a beautiful moment. The whole night I stayed awake thinking about that, watching the trailer multiple times. Then later next day, night, I'm thinking, does it matter in the present moment? Because I don't have family, I don't have friends, I don't have food to eat. I had become very lean because I was not eating and no money. I was thinking, does it really matter? And this also triggered my all other insecurities and all other traumatic fears, where I was in beggar colony, where I was abused, and all that came to the surface. Now I feel okay, but at that moment it was devastating amount of pain. So then I was looking at the floor. What should I do? My impulse started saying, jump from this third floor, jump from this third floor. I was thinking, am I bad person? Because I'm trying to be good, nobody is helping me. What is the answer for all of this? So then at that moment it was very intense, but it was intense enough to get me out of that situation, which was, maybe I am a god and I have to make the whole world better. That was the moment.
So you discovered your intelligence early, right?
Yeah.
And I think you feel it is a curse.
It was, yeah.
It was. But why? Why you feel it?
Because I was a kid, innocent, not knowing about the world, exposed to beggar colony in very early in my life. That amount of aggression, where I saw other kids hitting each other in that beggar colony. I even got hurt here, where I fell down because of one of the incident. That aggression was imprinted in my mind. And after, even when I came home, I carried that aggression with me. I didn't feel safe. Nobody to protect me, nobody to teach me what's the best thing to do. All I got was from their perspective, what was the best thing, how to love. From their perspective. Nothing like where I could deeply relate, because I had been in a deeper situation, like primal instinct type of situation. I think because of that, I didn't get the right information. Yeah, right information, I didn't get it. So that's why I feel like it was a curse. It had been like that for like 20 years. Then later, from 2020, I'm starting to, learn the right information, learn what's the best way to deal something, what's the best way to think, what's the best way to work. I think that's how I started getting the idea to write the book. That's why I told you about the book.
So in beggar colony, why people are so aggressive?
I don't know. Is that primal instinct? Primal instinct. Where, see, normal, regular people in normal household, they want to be, loved, they want to be respected, they want people in their life. In beggar colony, all that is not there. It's much deeper than that. All they want is to survive.
Hmm.
They'll do anything to survive.
Survive for food?
Yeah, survive for food, because they feel from the whole world that nobody cares about them. How does it matter how I live? I'll just do whatever I want. See, emotions is one level, but deeper than that, the animalistic part of our brain, I think that's where they operate.
Oh, so deep. So Mr. Kaushik, like why you have written the book now? And what is your book name?
The Dawn language.
The Dawn language. Because from the beggar colony?
My whole life, I felt like, okay, let me tell you this. Very early in my life, I had come from beggar colony, a really aggressive
Till
person.
what time?
I think till the age of 3.5, something like that, I was there. So then my father family, my grandmother family took me in. So then there, I was a notorious kid. I used to hit people, still get first rank in school. I used to hit people, they used to hit me, notorious. And what my grandmother and my father did was they forcefully taught me to love. I didn't understand anything. Forcefully taught me to say sorry. That's something that's imprinted again in the childhood. So what happened was I had these two energies. One side very aggressive, one side very loving. I had tried to balance it out. I go to the one extreme or the other extreme. It was like that my whole life. And because of this, and one of the reason was my dad and my grandmother put me to martial arts classes really young.
So you learn martial art.
Yeah, really young. I think that was the first skill that I learned, martial arts, because they wanted me to be disciplined because I was a notorious kid.
Still you are into martial art or you left it?
I still carry that energy. I'll tell you how it is. Because in martial arts, what happened was I learned how to learn. At that moment, I was in third standard or something. I didn't care about it. Martial arts, simply I have to kill some time. They won't let me at house. Just go to martial arts and come back. But what happened was in third standard or something, 6 months later, there was some physics problem which I had to learn. It was interesting, but I couldn't learn it. I couldn't understand it. So then I'm looking at this paper textbook, how to understand this. Then I remembered my martial arts. There was some technique which was relatable to this moment. Okay, if I do that, I'll face failure. If I do this, I'll feel success. Okay. Then I tried again and it worked out. I understood that concept. That moment, I got addicted to learning because of martial arts. I didn't care about it, but the same principle applied to physics, completely different thing, which blew my mind. At that moment, I felt like if I can do this, then I can do anything. It was the same way. I started learning dance. I started learning swimming when I was in hostel. Then study. I lost interest in academics, but then I found the interest later in hostel. I started learning all these skills, and I understood that I'm not like everyone because I know for sure why they're not succeeding. I have the reasons. I know why they are not becoming successful or better because they don't care about it, or they're not doing what it takes to be successful, or they're not open minded enough. I could prove it from with anyone I meet. That that long exposure of learning many skills made me feel like I'm better than everyone. Coming to this point, I still feel like that, but I don't want to like say it in front of everyone's faces. It's just that dark side. I know it, but I don't want to say it. But that dark side has to survive. It has to come out. Otherwise, you will repress it. You'll get into trouble later. I don't want to do that. That's why the Dawn language, something powerful, something aggressive. That's why the name of the book, The Dawn Language. And also inspired by Mr. Shah Rukh Khan, Dawn 2. I watched it 3 times in one day when it came out.
It's a Hindi movie.
Yeah, because it was amazing. I was in a ninth standard or something when it came out. He had like superior intelligence and he didn't get into trouble. I'm not saying I want to be a criminal, but that was it sparked my curiosity.
What is the best moment you remember about the Dawn movie?
I think the Dawn 2. I saw the Dawn 2 movie. Best thing was in the end. In the end, he survived. First time I watched it, I couldn't understand. How did he do it? How did he manage to survive and still get what he wants? That was amazing. That ending moment defined something which was a part of me. Even though it was a criminal movie, even though it was a bad movie, dark side, that defined something in me because I want to survive. And I also took it as I don't want to hurt anyone. That is always there because of the love. I think the ending moment, yeah.
Correct. So, Mr. Kaushik, I was just reading about you, and I think one thing I found it: you have faced betrayal, abuse, and lack of injustice. Correct.
Yeah.
So, what was that?
First thing was my fate, mentally challenged mother, went to beggar colony. Another part of my fate where I got back into the house. One of my relatives molested me and abused me for years. And when the first time someone found out that she abused me, then it got more intense and more passive aggression started my whole life. And at the same time, I was overachieving. So it got mixed with envy. All that, I think it was my fate. But what was not my fate? what was, I think, my own sort of situations started to play out because of my faith was I was in hostel. I went there for 10th standard because at 16, it's the onset of psychosis, mental disorder. It's the onset. So my dad knew this, my grandmother knew this. They put me into hostel. That was an international hostel. And there, at in 10th standard, started overachieving. First in academics, I used to dance good. First in academics, I used to dance good and all that. So one of my friends, he's from Karnataka, Bangalore. He's like one of the gangsters' son. He was very talented in writing stories, movies. He was very creative. He started getting inspired from me and wrote many movies in Kannada, which are now blockbusters.
Which movie was?
I don't want to say the names of that because I don't want to get into trouble, but many movies like blockbusters, more than two or three. And there we stopped talking on the terms of, okay, after 10 years, when I become successful on my own, we'll become friends. And I said, he recorded my voice. I don't want any money from the movie because I was in 10th standard. I was a minor. I didn't know what I was doing back then. So we stopped, we ended those discussions there and he left the school after 10th. But what another thing what happened was in that international hostel, two North Indians were there. In 11th and 12th, first PU, second PU, by 11th and 12th, I was even more aggressive. One side, I was studying good. I got 91% in the boards. And then I used to dance good. And then state level karate, I got second place. Swimming, I used to train with people who were competing for nationals. They were in CBSE, I was in state. So I used to compete with them. So it didn't it didn't go to anything further, but they saw all this. At the same time, I was falling in love because I needed love. I hadn't experienced any love because I needed love. I was falling in love. And because of the aggression, if something bad happens, I would be a bully. Sometimes I got bullied. Sometimes I bullied people. I know now that that's wrong. But at that moment, I think that's how I survived. So they made movies in my 11th and 12th. And we ended that discussion on the terms of, okay, I'll take the money later because I'm in struggle and we'll not talk about it until the money arrives.
So have you found your love?
I found many times and I've broken my heart many times. Now it's all passive. So, one thing, I got a painful love once, and I have to tell that because it's too intense. I think this is something which everyone would need but not feel it. There was this one girl in my college, in my degree college, Jain College. She approached me first. Back then, I was still overperforming in studies and all that. It didn't lead to anything. And later, after degree college, I ran out of my home. After that, 2 years I was roaming here and there, no idea of what's happening. Then later, I came home in 2020. What happened was I started healing in 2020. I started to understand, why am I this way? Why do I feel scared? Why do I feel angry? Why do I feel sad? Why are my moods fluctuating? Why am I aggressive? So once I opened that door, all the fears, anger, repressed emotions, memories of trauma, memories, heartbreaking memories, it was overwhelming, like I can't explain. It started to come to the surface. So that moment, I texted that girl who she approached me in my degree. I don't want to say the name of her. She didn't reply me once. That's why I call it painful hell. I started texting her night, whole day, for days, for 2 years. It used to start off like I feel scared. I can't control it. I feel scared. I don't feel safe. Then about a little bit time as I went in, I started to feel, why do I feel this way? because I felt safe while texting her. So then, how can I not feel this way? How can I not feel angry from the next time? It was a journey of 2 years. That's the painful help. Painfully, because nobody knows about psychosis, mental health, and nobody can understand because it's not generally known.
So, the dawn language. What do you want the reader to feel about after finishing your book? Three words are there: enlightened, provoked, or empowered.
Empowered. Empowered in a yeah, powerful. Like there's people who work for 20 to 30 years without feeling success, but at one moment they figure out why something didn't work for 20 to 30 years in one sentence, one insight. That's the effect I want to have on people who read the book.
So, in your book, I think there is a short liner, powerful short liner, not detailed one.
Yeah.
Why you have chosen this?
Because that's my element. I don't like to read paragraphs, and I like to think if something is interesting.
Okay, what's the one truth in your book that might disturb the people? What is that?
People don't care. People only care if they're getting something from you. So that is why you have to be valuable and sort of attractive so that you make everyone feel happy.
So, your book is all about mastery in the life.
Yeah.
Right? What do you think? What is mastery?
Mastery thing is the best way to do something. Best way to perform any skill. Best way to manage people, manage relationships. Best way to learn.
So, Mr. Kaushik, there are thousands of books, self-help. Why do you think your book is different?
Because it operates from a deeper perspective. All the self-help is from like positivity, how to do that. Because I faced deeper amount of pain, I needed a deeper amount of explanation to solve it. Because I've written a book from a deeper perspective. I think that's why it's different.
So, what's your mental model for learning something very fast, deeply?
Yeah. First thing, I think they need to get all the variables on the table. I can give you an example from music production because I'm learning music production. Infinite amount of books, infinite amount of courses, information, everything. Get as much information in front of you as possible. As much information. Books, courses, whatever. Once you have information in front of you, don't try to read page by page by page of all the books. Prioritize. Because if you prioritize what's important at that point in time, what's important while performing, what's important while producing, then you'll kind of detach from all the information. Because you have to learn the information first, and only then you can prioritize. Because once you detach from all the books, you can get the idea of what's important, what's not important, what's slightly important. And in a skill which is slightly complicated as music production, there are many angles to look at it. One is technical, the settings which you do, the amount of tweaks you need to do, the levels you need to manage, and all that. This comes after experience, after heartbreaking. I'm telling you out of experience so that it becomes easier for you. One is technical skill, one is emotional skill, one is your self knowledge. Once you get technical skill, you know how to tweak anything and manage to give the emotion you need. On the other aspect, emotional skill. Emotional skill is okay, you can experiment with sounds your whole life and not get anywhere. But if you express, you can get something moving. You can engage other people. So ultimately, that is why it's an art form, because it's not an experiment, it's an art form. That is emotional part of it. So you're taking your emotions, putting it in technical skill so that listeners feel your emotion, the emotion which you need. So this is like the simple way to understand any skill. I forgot the other side, that knowledge of yourself. This is the hardest because you have to understand yourself first. Because if you keep giving emotions which are already there, It may sound boring, not interested, whatever. Because if you know yourself and you can give that emotion, technically, you're the winner. You have mastered music production.
Absolutely right. So Kaushik, one question is coming out of curiosity. So what were the biggest mental block you ever faced, and how you overcome it?
Yeah, nothing. This question has a deep impact for me because biggest mental blocks that I faced, one is illusions, one is confusions. Confusions is in the head, conflicting ideas. Illusions is emotional. You think something is right and you're doing it, but halfway in you think that's not right. I'm actually failing instead of winning. I think if you overcome these two things, I think most of your problems will be solved on the road to success. One is confusion, that is mentally, one is illusion. So, how to overcome this is, in order to solve confusions, I think you have to write. Not just writing anything, but like intentionally to figure out the confusion, to figure out where you're going wrong, to figure out the contradiction. That's solving confusion. For illusions is you need to have a good spirit, because if you feel good, whatever you do, it'll be coming out good. For that, I think you have to meditate. But what I do, I used to meditate, but now what I do is I reflect. Why did that happen? Why? Because reflecting and discovering the world puts me in a new zone. I think these two things, confusion and illusions.
So what are the three underrated social intelligence hack which is not talked about?
Everyone is a king of their life, king or queen of their life. I may think I'm greatest, but someone who's speaking Kannada may feel he's the greatest. And someone who's speaking Hindi, he may feel like he's the greatest. Someone speaking English, he may feel he's the greatest. Someone speaking Marathi, he may feel he's the greatest. Allowing space to let all the people do their thing without conflicting. You have to let other person feel like they're the king or queen of their life. If we just try to push ourselves like I'm the greatest, I think we're going to lose most of the battles of life, especially in social intelligence. One thing is we have to make other person feel like they're good. Second thing is you have to create admiration. If you show that you're too great than the other person, even without him knowing, he started to feel envy towards you. So you have to make other people feel like they can trust you. You're comfortable with them and they're comfortable with you. I think these two things are really the greatest, because once you understand the first one, you can start to let other person feel good. But if something goes wrong and they start to feel envy, I think you have to create admiration by appearing non-harmless and all that. These two are the most important.
So Mr. Kaushik, according to you, am I doing good job? The same thing what you are telling.
Amazing. It's excellent.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I think we can all get better. I don't know how you can get better, but I think this is good.
So what's your daily practice to control your mind, to master of your life?
I write. I have a old BlackBerry phone where I write the highlights of the day. It's like my diary. That thing is a must. If I don't write it, I'll start to feel lost. Then I write down, if I get into confusion, I write down stuff. And yeah, sometimes I meditate only when it's necessary. I know I'm not supposed to do that, but that's how it is. And I reflect a lot. Instead of meditation, I reflect. Why did that go wrong? How could I have done it better? How can I be the better person next time? How can I treat this person right? How to solve this? Why is this happening in this world? What is the answer? How can I spread more love to the world? I think that's the main reflection which I do, which keeps me in a great spirit every day.
So Kaushik, we talked about beggar colony, right? There is a much aggression is there, right? So aggression already destroyed many lives, right? As I think yesterday I have seen one video where husband got too angry and he he killed his wife, and after that he was crying a lot that what I had did very wrong thing. So how you controlled the aggression, because you came from the same background.
This topic is considered a taboo in the world. Because let me explain from my story and how I work aggression so that you get an understanding. First thing, when I get aggressive, okay, as I told, I was in beggar colony, primal instincts got activated, forcefully learned to love. So what happened was, I have these criminal impulses. I have to, it usually comes from, I'm right, I know I'm right, but still this person is hurting me. So I have to do something about it. It comes from that point, at least for me. I don't know about others, because it feels like I'm right and this person is hurting me and I have to fight to protect myself. So I get criminal impulses. So what happens there, because of forcefully the love which I got, yeah, I learned. I start to talk to myself. Okay, why do you feel like hurting that person? Then the other part says, the dark side says, because I'm right and he's hurting me and I may get into trouble and I may die. Okay. Then the other part of me says, okay, you're not in trouble right now. Only way you can show your aggression, you can show you're better than that person to yourself and the other people is through your work. Because if you work, you can prove to yourself that you're the better person, and you can prove to him or her, and you can prove to the whole world. And nobody else has control over that. Only you have the control. So I channel that aggression to prove something, to work, so that now I start to work subconsciously without me knowing. I get the answers out of nowhere. Subconsciously, I start working. That's beautiful thing. Because you can't channel your aggression to something else, it may come out in shady ways if you repress it. So you have to flow. Everyone is aggressive. Everyone is an animal. Just have to channel that aggression so to something healthy. That's my take on.
So how someone can reprogram his mind?
Okay. First thing is detach. What I mean by detach is, you'll be having a fixed routine, you'll be doing something your whole day, your whole life. Do something completely different which you like and observe your life from that perspective, at least for 10 minutes. Starting, you may feel confused, but because you're in a different place, because you're in a different experience, you have a fresh perspective. So you can zoom out of your present situation. So then you have to get the right information, because from that moment, after you've zoomed out, you can clearly analyze what is right, what is wrong, how you can get better. That's the best way to reprogram subconscious.
Kaushik, I want to learn more about your hostel life, and there was 2 year very traumatic episodes.
Yeah, how's the life, I think it was in 2012 to 15. 2 years traumatic episode. It was from 2018 to 2020. First, I'll talk about my hostel life. As I said, my father and grandmother decided to put me there because the onset of psychosis, coming from lower middle class family. But my dad is powerful in mining industry. He's a legal advisor. So he put me to international hostel. Completely new environment. I don't know any person. More than that, I don't know how to behave. I don't know how to interact with people. I used to act, immature and all that. First 6 months, I struggled, got into fights, I got hit, whatever, got bullied, whatever, because I was not good with behavior. So then, after 6 months, around that time, I started to understand what I should do, how I should behave. I adapted. So then, that's where the 10th standard friend started to get inspired and wrote movies, blockbusters, by the way. So in academics, I got interested. I regained the interest back. Then I started swimming. I started to dance again. Even the rest of 6 months of 10th standard was okay. But from 11th and 12th, first PU, second PU, that was just wild. Because by that time, I had already got complete psychosis, what I had to get. Because that usually sets in 16 age, 16 to 18 years of your life. I mean, age 16 to age 18. So in first PU and second PU, I started overachieving. I'll tell you something. First, I used to wake up, run in the cricket stadium 3 or 4 rounds, come back, go to school, learn really good, do some events or club activities, first or second or third, all the time. Then come back, do sports for 2 hours, exert myself completely, and then come back, study. And still, I had so much aggression that I would get into fights with other kids, other, classmates, hostel mates. And still, I used to fall in love desperately, not knowing what's the right thing to do. That's how it was. It was wild. Nobody even knew how to deal with me. That's how wild it was. I didn't know how to deal with me because all this mental health knowledge is not readily available. It's not easily, accessible. Not many people don't understand it. So it was wild. And in 11th and 12th, my friends got inspired and wrote movies, which are now blockbusters.
Now everything's sorted. Now you are master of your life. You can control your thoughts. Everybody can mingle with you.
I would say, not completely, but still there's little part of me left in personality, about 10%. After that is done, I can just live peacefully, growing every day. That's the normal state, growing every day. That I can do my whole life. But before I start that, I need to figure out, because I'm still fearful of something, fearful of memories. So I need to figure that. I think it's 90% done, 10% is still there, but I'm able to function very good. That's why I feel good. Because I've done a lot of work, the 90%, I feel amazing. My spirit is really happy. That's how I feel.
Wow. So Kaushik, you have read so many books, right? But but you are strongly saying that no book can teach you. Only the pain can teach you.
I think
This is the very true line. I can bet on that.
yeah. Because I think books can teach you, books can give you information. Even my book, it can give you information. But if you're not emotionally invested in it, if you don't have interest towards that information, even if God comes and tells you the secrets of the world, you won't care because you don't have interest. What happens with pain is it starts to put, it puts you in a sharp situation, a sharp, deep pain puts you in sharp situation. It makes your mind sharp. It puts your emotional on fight or flight. Not completely, but that's still light form of that. So what happens from that is everything seems important from the perspective of pain. Once everything seems important, then you'll understand what is really important. Who am I? That's why pain can give a lot of success, which comfort can't. Because it puts you in pain, it makes your mind sharp. Your emotions feel a little bit like warrior. I mean, if you can even stop feeling this out of comfort, get distracted, get lost in depression, anxiety, whatever. But there's those people who want to fight out of this pain. For them, pain is the best medicine. Because once they feel that, it's all upwards from there. Because the whole world seems important, they'll know what to do, they'll become successful.
These are very hard and true lines.
Thank you.
Very hard. So what is the one truth you want to tell to the society here?
Yeah. I think I was thinking about it for like 2 months or something 1 year ago. Like, why is this? Why is this? I couldn't figure this out. I think later I figured it out that we, I don't know about other countries, but in India, we are taught and we come from the place of I have to listen to what parents say.
Hmm.
Our parents say what we have to do, what we shouldn't do, what is right, what is good, what is bad. We come from there and we start to form our life in that way, not knowing that even that may be false because they're telling from their experience and we haven't experienced that firsthand. So I think many people, a lot of people are in like bubbles, certain bubbles, like some patterns their whole life, same patterns their whole life. If someone understands why is that, if someone tries to understand why is it that way, how can I get better? Is there something on the other side of what I know? I think that's the biggest thing, biggest powerful thing that you can do for yourself. Because let me give you an example. Like a normal, regular person, like middle class, thinks all rich people are bad.
Hmm.
Okay. Nobody cares about you. They only visit you in functions or special events. So you have to earn your own meal, go to job and all that. And in career, you have to be only you can only be lucky and be successful and not hard work. I think many people live in this bubble and not knowing that even this may be wrong. So if they just try to understand what is on the other side, what is actually the truth, are all rich people bad? Of course not. Do you need only luck to be successful? Of course not. You can also have hard work. You need strategy. So you need something practical, some practical information to work on. I think because of these bubbles, a lot of people are stuck, maybe individual bubbles or group bubbles, community, social circle. It's always there. But only way you can break out of that, that's the best thing that you can do.
Yeah. So Kaushik, now you are a founder and author of the Dawn language. So you told me one thing. I asked you, do you have? You told no. It's in mind.
Yeah.
So this is again a powerful word from your side. Thank you so much for this powerful word. So Kaushik, I think we have done with a great conversation today. I have some rapid fire rounds with you, some 5, 6 questions. Okay. So are you ready?
Yeah.
One sentence. What did pain teach you that success never could?
Whatever it takes. Do whatever it takes, hurt nobody.
What's the darkest truth about life that people refuse to accept?
Maybe you're in a lie. Just step outside.
If you could delete one emotion from humans, what would it be?
Envy.
Envy. What's one reality about people that always disappoint you?
It's the same thing. You're living in bubbles. Living in bubbles. Love is the answer. Love for all languages, regions, people, the whole world. Love is the answer. If you don't realize that, that's the pain.
But what you will say about as of now this language war is going on in Maharashtra and in Karnataka? What you will say?
It's definitely there, definitely present. Never, I can never deny that. I think it can be done more peacefully and more rationally. If you have to, if you want someone to speak, okay, peacefully, powerfully, make them speak. You don't have to use your aggression. That's what I'm trying to say. You don't have to use your aggression because if you are aggressive, you're just hurting another Indian. Even they're Indian. Do the soldiers care about you fighting? They're fighting for all of us. You can fight for language, but in a healthy, peaceful way. I think, yeah.
I will make one video on that. It's a good, powerful line again.
Thank you.
The soldiers are doing a good job. They are protecting everybody, but we Indians are fighting with the languages. One last thing, Mr. Kaushik. What's one truth from your book that even you are scared to write?
I was not scared to write anything.
Nothing. The hard truth of beggar colony.
It was hurting me, but I was not scared. I put it out bold.
Wow. Absolutely. Thank you so much, Mr. Kaushik. It was great having you here. First time I'm shaking hand in the podcast after. It's a good conversation. Thank you. Hope you liked it.
I loved it. I spoke about myself. They told us to do that, so even I did. Thank you.